We are back now at 4:30, still covering breaking news out of southern Dallas. We have been on the air or online for about the last 3 hours with continuous coverage of this situation still unfolding in southern Dallas, a school shooting at Wilmer-Hutchins High School. There is a live look right now from our chopper over the scene that's been there for the last several hours. Just to bring you up to speed on what we know, we are awaiting a briefing from Dallas ISD. We expected that to happen at the top of the hour. They're continuing to push it back, but as soon as it does begin, we will bring it to you live. We do know that there are 4 victims. We also know those are non-life-threatening injuries, so that is the best news possible that we could bring you about what's happened. We know 3 of those victims are between 15 and 18 years old. The 4th, the age is unknown. I was saying we've been on the air for the last several hours. One of our reporters has been on the scene for the last several hours. We want to go out to WFAA's Cole Sullivan. Cole, you have been speaking with some of the students who were terrified and just evacuating and running from the scene from the moment that the shots happened. What do you know right now?
Well, what we know right now is that the reunification process is unfolding. We're slowly but surely reuniting parents with their students, and you can imagine that's an emotional process for these parents who, again, have been through this now a second time, many of them, in the last year. A year ago this week, there was a shooting at this same school. Right now, we've heard from our sources that a suspect has been identified but is not yet in custody. So police are still looking for that suspect right now. Parents are understandably frustrated. They want to know how this all happened again. Last April, when we were out here talking about this, the district superintendent said that a student was able to bring a gun into campus. It was an outcry from both students and parents who wanted better communication and better security. I was speaking with one former student. She graduated this past May, and her sister is still a student here, and she said that her sister said again today, one of the metal detectors, this student says, was not working at this school. That was the same case a year ago when a student brought a gun into the school and a shooting unfolded a year ago. We're speaking with the deputy mayor pro tem here, the council member who represents this district. He says he has been told from police that the suspect has been identified, and he says he was told by law enforcement that someone let that suspect in through an unsecured door. So right now we don't know how that person got into the school, if they were a student or a former student or otherwise. That's one of the key questions that law enforcement is working to find out. We'll hear, as you said, in the next few minutes from the superintendent here. She's not taking any questions, the district has said, but is going to release what they know right now. You can imagine a lot of parents and a lot of reporters have a lot of questions about how this all happened and how this all unfolded. But you can see behind me some of the scene has calmed down a little bit. I'm not sure if we can zoom in a little bit here and show you what we see right here. Earlier, when I first got to this scene, this was full of flashing lights, red and blue. Now we see a lot fewer, only a handful of emergency vehicles here. The initial response of ISD police, DPD police, and others has ended, and firefighters have been back on rotation, into their normal duties. Instead, we see this investigation. We know there are federal agents here from the ATF are on scene. I can see some of those windbreakers, and we can also see the Dallas Office of Emergency Management Command module set up here. But we're still waiting for answers from the superintendent about how all of this happened. To give you some insight into the response here, and kind of interesting coincidence. Today, I was set up to speak with the new special agent in charge of the FBI for the Dallas region. He just hit 100 days in the office. He says his #1 concern is violent crime and violence that impacts communities, things like this. And he says the FBI and other federal partners, and this extends as well to local law enforcement, have at this point muscle memory on how to respond to something like this. That's what they're doing right now, going through the steps of this investigation in a very eerie and uncomfortable echo of the same thing they were doing a year ago today on this very same scene. We're waiting to hear from a lot of parents about how they feel about this as well. But for now, Teresa, I'll send it back to you.
Cole, eerie is one way to say it, most definitely, and how unfortunate that there is muscle memory to respond to what came in, a call of an active shooter. That was just after 1 o'clock at Wilmer-Hutchins High School. We know that some of the people who were inside the building, some of the students, have told our reporters on the scene that it was around the lunch hour and that the shooting seemed to come from the area where the cafeteria is located. I want to go now to WFAA's Brittany Moncrief. I know, Brittany, you were speaking with some of those students as well as Cole was as they were sort of running from the scene. I know you had a story from one of those students about his friend was one of the ones who unfortunately was either grazed or shot. What exactly did he relay to you?
Well, Teresa, that student, he's a senior here, so he was also here last year when the shooting happened previously. But he told me that once they heard those gunshots, they took off running, and then that's when he noticed that his friend was lagging behind. He stopped to help his friend, and they saw some blood on his leg, and he helped his friend take off his boot, and that's when they noticed that he was injured. He was able to get help and was taken to the hospital. That student and his other friends were able to run over here to the elementary school, which is, as Cole described, about a football field away. And they were able to get here to safety. There were other countless stories that are very similar to what that student told us as well. Some students even saying that they jumped out of their window. They also thanked their teachers as well for closing the door, locking the doors, and holding it off so that way they were able to run and get away. As some students told me, they were in English class. Some say they were in the cafeteria, but they heard those gunshots, what they say were in the B Hall area of the school near the cafeteria. And again, this is something that a lot of students, for them, you know, it's a flashback to last year. Some of them were here when the shooting happened last year, and they remember those same protocols and the same steps that they took to make sure they were safe. And this time, though, students are describing this as being much different. Mainly because of the multiple gunshots that they heard, how close they were to those gunshots this year and taking off. And if you may remember last year too, after the incident happened, there were a lot of students who were calling for better safety at the school. We saw multiple protests to take place days after the shooting last year. And I'm not sure if that's going to happen again this year, but we did speak with some students who knew those who helped organize the protest last year. And again, it's the same thing. They're calling for better safety, as well as the parents. The parents are asking why has this happened? And I know last year we were talking about some improved safety measures that the school was going to take, and we actually sat down with Dallas ISD police chief last year, who said that they were looking to retrain teachers on how to when students go through the metal detector, to retrain teachers on that and to also improve communication, because before there was a lot of confusion, and still to this today we're seeing that a lot of parents are saying that there's still that confusion there. But again, here at the elementary school, it seems that it's all been cleared out. We just saw police just leave a few moments ago.
Well, that's good news. Hopefully anybody who is waiting to reunite with their student has been able to make that happen. The family members that were gathered at the elementary school where Brittany was. We appreciate your live coverage, Brittany. You're taking a live look at our chopper overhead. Just a few seconds ago, you were seeing people gather in a circle there on the football field. And to be frank, we don't know exactly what's going on, why that would be happening. A couple of things pop into my mind. Perhaps it's the faculty, the staff gathering to sort of debrief after what happened. Perhaps it's a prayer circle. I'm not exactly sure what is going on there. As we zoom in, you can see those do look like older individuals. It doesn't necessarily look like students, and it does look like people who are being briefed by somebody there in the middle. So again, don't know exactly who they are. Perhaps it is staff members, faculty members who are getting a briefing from someone about either what happened or what to do next.